Welcome to the Soul Fam Podcast. I'm Diana Marquetta, host of the Soul Fam Podcast. I ask you to like and subscribe, and I welcome Gail Fowler, who is a renowned experiencer of Sasquatch tribes and the forest people. She's a return guest to the Soul Fam Podcast, and I have to say, I was personally profoundly influenced by our last conversation. And I felt like our audience really resonated and was fascinated with not only your experiences recently, but your upbringing and how these kind of suspicious activity or myths were really welcomed in your culture. So you have a whole other attitude or understanding of what it means to experience these kinds of things.
Whether I'm ready for it or not, it happens.
Speaking of that, why don't you share with us how your experiences with Sasquatch tribes and the forest people differs from maybe somebody who has a more scientific background and is trying to find something, research something, be very specific about things, where you really have a whole other sort of aura about you that changes the whole situation.
Well, I mean, I do know people who are like, they really need to show the proof, right? So they're out there. They want to gather all the data, all this information. And I'm like, I just kind of just show up, and then when things happen, I'm always shocked. It's like, wow, this is amazing. Recently, I had a friend who, he says he wanted me to be a part of his new documentary. And we were just going to go and try to prove his theory or disprove, whatever you want to do. But in that whole process, we did exactly what he wanted to do. We recorded that. I think it's coming out soon. I just don't remember where he's going to have it sent out. But he showed me a clip, and in that situation, when we were in the circle, I actually received a connecting with, there were two. It was I think she was a Native American female. She came forward, and then I felt a female I will just say Sasquatch came forward. And I was interacting with the other person who's basically doing the documentary part of it. But after we were all done, I just said, we need to go and honor the land and thanking, for us for being there. And then we went to an area, we kind of had to walk further down, and there was a whole bunch of trees there. I said, let's go over there. And, thank them. And we left some gifts, some Reese's peanut butter cups. But while we were there, we toned love. And what do you know? One of the people who had a recording device came with us, and she also had a camera, and she saw it too. We're like, there's eyes there. I was like, I see it too. They said, well, how did you do that? I said, I didn't do anything. I just felt like we needed to thank them for allowing us to be in their space. And then activity started picking up. And I guess without knowing, while we were looking and focusing on one, I believe my friend said his name was Al. She got the name Al.
But of the Sasquatch?
I just saw him standing there, saw his eyes, and eventually I saw his outline. And he was standing by an aspen tree. And he was like, well, he's pretty tall. But the people above where we were originally sitting, they were seeing some activity to our right. And the guy was like, I saw something, and it kind of stood up, and it was like, wow, what is that? And then it went back down again, and he goes, but I didn't record it. And I said, maybe you weren't supposed to record it, right? But there were some other things after that I haven't seen yet, so I'm excited to see what was going on. But after we did all that, there was more interaction, so I'm really curious.
After you did the toning
and I'm being thankful for allowing us to be there. So that's a little different, my approach. It's more like just saying, we're coming into your home, and I'm grateful that you allowed us to be here, type of thing, versus just going there going, I need to find proof, and I need, evidence. So I'm going to be looking. With all of my experiences that I've had, it's really been more of I stumbled into it, so to speak. Didn't quite call them out, just like, what is that I'm seeing? Or like, are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? Or just, are you hearing what I'm hearing? It's not been where I've gone purposely out to look. Now, do we know activity in the areas? Most of the time we do, but a lot of times it's like, I have no clue. We're going to go to a new place and see what happens. And then I'm always amazed. So I don't really know what it is. I think it's more what I believe people have more interaction when they're in their heart space. And that's a different approach than like the BFRO or anybody else who are searching.
How do you tone? How do you tone love?
Put somebody in the middle of the group and we tone to them, even tone their name. It's just amazing. I'm thinking it's the music, it's where we're coming from that draws them in, because they're like, what are these silly humans doing?
That's gorgeous. That's
So we heard
beautiful.
Thank you. And we did something when we figured out how it really impacted. It happened when we were in Chihuahua, Washington. We were at a conference and they have an outdoor area. It's an amphitheater. And so we decided, like the first time we went there, the first year, there was a small group and we had a good time. The next year, we probably had 40 in this area. And it's all dark. Nobody has their lights on. And there's, all the benches and everything. So we're toning and we were toning for the individual. So they were like, okay, who's next? And they jump in the middle and everybody's toning. It was so much fun. We were laughing. Certain words would come up, like my friend Carissa, she just started giggling when we toned happiness, because we'd say happy, and her mind went there. So she's laughing, and so every time we would tone that, it would cause giggles. But little did we know, there's people who didn't join us. They were doing a drum circle, and then they heard us, and then they heard responses.
No.
So we didn't hear the responses. So they said, "Oh my God, did you guys hear this?" Oh, I don't know. We were just having a good old time. We had no idea. So
what kind of responses?
They were hearing hoots and hollers and noises coming out, and then it wasn't us. And they believed, it was a forest people. And we had no idea. We were just having a good old time. So that's what I'm saying. I kind of stumble into things. And it was a friend of ours who was taking pictures too. And it was like, first I'm going, what the heck is this flash of light coming? You're interrupting the moment. But he has this gift where he's just being told, point there and take pictures. And there were a whole bunch of orbs. And it was almost like a sea of orbs. As after we started toning, more and more showed up. So, we're getting this proof, so to speak, but we had no idea when we were doing it. So in preparation for the conference that I'm going to put together, it's more like my friend who has gone to many different BFRO conventions and with the scientists and everything. She said, well, maybe we should start teaching people how to make that connection.
Right.
Then I kind of looked at her and I said, how do we do that?
Well,
do what you always do. I said, well, it's kind of just happens. But I've noticed that when we do things like honoring the land, thanking for being allowed to be there, and then the toning, it just shifts everything.
Beautiful.
So maybe it also shows that we're not here to harm them, or we're not here to, get the proof, because most of us don't have anything with us when we're there. We just do our stuff. So taking pictures and recording, that's never been something that's been on my mind. In fact, I've had stuff with me, like in my pockets and everything, and I've experienced stuff, and never once did I feel like I needed to take it out and do something. But my last trip to the Navajo reservation in, when was it? September, 3:03 in the morning. How did I know? Because I heard a sound, woke me up, and my phone happened to be right next to me, and I grabbed it, and I made a recording. I still don't know if it was coyotes or, all these things. So I sent it to several people saying, hey, y'all, is it the Sasquatch or is it coyotes? What do you think? So I'm still waiting to hear back from them, because you can hear what it sounds like coyotes, and we've heard it before, but there's some unusual sounds to it as well.
Well, I know the sound of coyotes, so.
So I should send it to you. I'll send it to you for you to listen to.
Let's play it. That's interesting. Did it sound different? Is it deeper?
It was more the other sounds mixed into it. So I'm like, okay, I've never got it to play right for me, so I'm not sure if I can do it. But when I first recorded it, it had a lot of staticky noise and stuff, because I don't know where they were, but I just turned on my recorder from my phone and I just started recording. And then little did I know, a friend of mine who was with our group, he had put a recorder in a tree stump, and he picked it up too.
No way.
So I was like, okay, but I know that when I woke up, I heard the noise, and it was the evening before we were gonna, like the next morning we were gonna leave. And generally when we do that, we're like, okay, we're gonna put out all the goodies, and there's this big old tree stump that we put like cookies and candies and all these other things. People say, why don't you put out healthy foods. So you're like, I don't know, we put corn and things like that too, but it seems like they like the Reese's peanut butter cups and the chocolate chip cookies and things like that. It's just funny, what they do. So when I heard that sound, I said, oh, it's probably them celebrating because we left all the goodies. Just my logical brain was just trying to put it. But then, like I said, I don't know what made me record it. It's like the last two images that I got pictures of, the Sasquatch there. It's like, I wasn't planning to. I just got a message saying take pictures. I'm like, why? Okay, so I just kind of, and then I'm done. And then later I'm going, oh my gosh, look, we caught something.
Are you
So
are you referring to the Sasquatch that showed up when you guys were, I don't know if you were camping or if you were in Colorado and he came to the door basically or came to the window?
So I think in the last one that you had, I showed the pictures. One of them took place in Arkansas, a place I've never been before. And that's where, literally the group was one area, and I said, I'm feeling drawn to this open area. You guys want to come? And my friend's like, no, you go by yourself. I'm like, fine, I'll go by myself. And it was dusk, so it was still some light there. And I just started taking pictures. Nothing other than saying I felt drawn to it, but not specific. You need to take a picture right there, Gail. It's more like, okay, I'm done. And then it was probably 2 weeks when we got back and we were going to do the Sasquatch conference. I wanted to say, okay, as a group, let's put our pictures together and take a look at it. So we're doing a Zoom call, looking at the pictures, and I'm like, what's that? Oh my gosh. And lo and behold, there it was. So I do, I guess, approach things differently, but not necessarily on purpose. Part of the other piece that I think is different is we're not looking for proof. We're probably going for another reason, or like we know we'll contact because we've been in this place before, but the first time we've experienced it, it was not planned. There was no, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to put bait out, if you want to say. It was never that. It was always an offering or a gift. So people have asked me, why do you call it offerings? Because it's like saying we're offering like a thank you for allowing us to be here. So you could say it's a gift, but being my background and I call myself an urban shaman, the offering seems part of a ceremony piece that seems to work better. And then we have experiences. And it's whether you're ready or not, it does not matter. Our last group, the last evening, we were all there. We put our stuff there, and I kept hearing like someone walking, crunching on some leaves. And then I just felt this urge, like, y'all need to move away. We want our gifts. We want to get our goodies. So I was like, I told everybody, I said, I think we're supposed to move away from the stump. And one of my friends who was standing at the stump, she said she swore it's like when an animal, like a dog or cat, kind of rubs up against your leg very briefly. She said she felt that twice. And so she said, I think I need to move. So at the same time I'm receiving, I think we should move. She got that. And another woman from our group, she came up to me and she grabbed my arm. So she scared me. But I just looked at her and said, did something grab you? She goes, yes. And I said, Cole, it just supports that we're supposed to go. No, like, oh my God. I was more afraid because it was dark and she scared me. But we felt comfortable. And she's like, that's amazing. So even after we had gone back to our campsite and talked about it, she goes, I can still feel like their hand. I was like, that's so cool. Now she wasn't planning on either. We were just going there because we were going to get rid of the goodies that we had. We're going to leave it there. Our final thank yous, and we'll see you our next visit. So there was no intention of getting any proof. And then they show up.
When you are in these events, are there often Bigfoot research organizations or individuals who are there? Do you find that it causes it's kind of bothering your vibe or it jams things sometimes?
Yeah, we do. I've noticed that. Especially even in areas that we are aware of. One of our friends, he just loves the proof. It's like, okay, you've had he said when he was young that a forest person, probably was a kid, chased him. He was running and it was chasing him. And he goes, I've never really had experiences. I looked at him, I'm saying, wait, you had something chasing you when you were a kid. You saw it. He goes, yeah, but I haven't had it happen since. So he wants the proof. So he comes with the equipment and he wanted to put out the game cams things. And I said, I don't think you should, because I think it's going to distract, the organically, experience that are coming out. And so he hasn't. But he did have a recorder. But whenever he left the recorder, he left all kinds of goodies as well. And in one of them, I mean, he had a lot of static and thing. And then one part, it sounds like somebody saying a name, but it was a very low, deep, like a rook or something like that. And we all stopped going, wait, all this other sound in this half an hour or whatever recordings, and you got this loud and clear. And it just, I got chills on my arms. Oh my gosh. And I said, see, you've got your proof. She goes, I'm not sure. I'm like, well, who the heck said that? We were all sleeping at the time. So even those who want proof, if you come with a open heart, and and for him, he needed the proof. I mean, so do I, but I've learned I'm not going to ask for that anymore, because once it happens, you're like, now what are you going to do?
Right. How did you get involved in all of this, Gail?
Well, so it was interesting. I mean, I always believed in them, with with all of the things that were going on before, when they got the famous video, Patterson Gimlin video. I mean, remember that? I remember in being in elementary school that there were books about Bigfoot and things. I've always been open to that, but we really didn't start going out and doing things until we met a person. His name is Kiwoni Lapsaritis. And I think he lived in Chihuahua, but in Washington State. He believes in the metaphysical or the paranormal piece of the Sasquatch. And he's had some amazing experiences himself. So he went to, where were we? In Estes Park. We had a conference there. There's some interaction here. So we were generally, in our beginning, we were connecting on the spirit level. We were having a lot of different beings, the Sasquatch in particular, or the forest people coming through and connecting, and they were coming through channeled messages, all of this stuff. But then when we started experiencing physical things, that didn't happen until 2017. Okay. It was just a small group of us. We went up on the Navajo reservation. We went up to the mountains, and that's when I saw my first Sasquatch. And he was in New Mexico. So New Mexico. I experienced things in Washington State too, but they were more in the shadows.
Right.
This one that I saw was during the day. I didn't know what the heck I was seeing, because it didn't look like what I thought it was supposed to look like. Oh. Was it tall? Yes. Was it big and bulky? No. In fact, and I'm not kidding, it had beautiful black, long flowing hair. And it was from the back. So I had no clue what I was seeing. And my friend Garrett, that's his family's land, he's right behind me. I'm trying to poke at him, trying to get his attention. So when I turned around and I pointed back, he was gone.
Oh, shoot.
He's like, what did you see? I said, I don't know what I saw. I said, well, maybe it was, another person. He goes, there's nobody else here. Right. And then I said, a raven? It was black, shiny, beautiful hair, but from head to toe, just like going down the back. And it wasn't just like long hair, it was the whole body.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I know. So I'm doubting myself. Go, what did I experience? I don't know. But everyone goes, you know what you saw? I says, what did I saw? They say, well, what does your heart tell you? I said, it was a forest person. So the following, I think October, we went there, and it was cold, but we said we went to go gather some cedar and some other things. So we were just going to be there one night. And then we went back to the same place, trying to figure out how tall this being was. So Garrett was the tallest of us. I'm like, okay. So his hand couldn't reach as high as what I recall, but he's very gifted too. And we went to the certain area, and then he received the channeled message, and she was actually more of a star being.
Oh, interesting.
And I'm going, well, that might make sense why she didn't look like what all the others, but I'm still kind of not quite sure. But she gave us a name, and she had told us that she basically came out of this portal that's right in that area.
Interesting.
So I'm still sitting there going, oh, now you're talking about an ET.
Right, a multidimensional being.
Right, and so my mind is still trying to understanding about the multi-dimensional piece. It's star being and all these things. It's just like I'm being bombarded with, okay, fine. And it was amazing. So that's why I don't necessarily know how it happens. It just does.
I find that so interesting because you're meeting so many different kinds of Sasquatch tribal beings and forest people. So I want to back up. What is the difference between a member of the Sasquatch tribe and a member of the forest people? Is there a difference?
I think they're the same, but it's like humans, from different regions.
Oh,
There's some difference in, what they look like, what their habits are. I know that when we were driving, either driving to or from Washington State from Colorado, we are driving in this one area, and as we were in my friend's van, I'm going, guys, this is something, this is weird that just popped in my head. They're like, what is this? So I said the term de-evolved. I said,
oh,
what is this de-evolved piece? And then it was showing a vision of they may have come from the stars, but there were some that decided to stay here and live here, and then they learned how to live here, and they may have lost some of the connections to technology. I mean, this is all just like filling my
coming
head.
through. Download.
Right. So I'm looking at them going, does that make sense to you? I've never heard of this before, but there were this one area we went to, there was a tribe that were giving off this type of energy as we were driving by. So I'm just sitting here going, I don't know what the heck I'm getting, and I don't know if it's real or not, but I just shared, what I got. So there's been several different types that I personally experienced. Some of them are way taller than others. Washington State and I'm not making this up when I say they're about 15 feet, or one of them was almost like 20 feet. Right. That was just based on the height of the tree and where I saw. So I was going, I think they're a lot bigger in Washington State than in New Mexico. But, and some things that I've seen, some of them smaller, but then I've also heard the negative stuff,
Right. Tell me about that.
Right? So since I haven't had that experience, I can't tell you firsthand my feelings, but from when people have told me their experiences, and some could be hunters, or I'm watching some documentary or something. I like to say that, like I mentioned before, this is their home. This is the forest people home. They have their family here. And then you have a stranger just walking into their place, There may be children involved. There may be the vulnerable, the elders, whatever you want to say. And so the others are trying to protect them. So they maybe come across as aggressive, so they may be throwing rocks or whatever it is. There may be things going on that could have triggered that because you're going into their territory. It could be that. I've had it where, we go to a certain area and I'm going, the energy here doesn't feel right. I'm not going to go there. That could be their way of saying, don't go here,
Right. Get out.
Right. Get out. But then I've also heard some of them where they've, like people say, oh, there's people who've been killed or been taken from them. I don't know enough, but to me, I'm like, why would someone make up such an elaborate story with so much details and it not being true, right? So I can't tell you. I don't know the truth. And I'm kind of glad that I haven't had negative experiences. But my friend who she's a medium. She's gifted, and then she's also very scientific. She said she went to this one place that it's not easy for people to get to. So not many people are in that area. And she has a van that she was sleeping in, and it was kind of like attacked. It was shaken up and everything. Very aggressive, you need to leave thing. And she said that in that area there were stories about, being attacked by the forest people. She goes, you want to come? I said, no, not gonna go there. But so I don't know the truth. Like humans, we have the good ones and we have the bad ones.
Right.
Some maybe have, because of trauma from the past, they don't trust.
Right.
Or maybe
of course.
they don't have interaction, so they are going to act aggressively to get whatever this, this person who's coming to their territory out. So I don't know. But like I said, when we're in our heart space, we really have been very lucky that we haven't had it. And my fear also starts to dissipate, freaking out. Right.
Do you think there's communication among the tribes?
Yes, I actually do. We found that out when we went to Chihuahua, because it was a big gathering. We were told by several people who are also very gifted too. They said, you brought representatives from your local clan with you when you came. I was like, they did the same thing. Oh, we did? Okay. Because there were so many different ones and there were different energies. And then Kiwani, who knew, that local clans, he goes, he could feel the difference. And it was like their gathering when we were having our gathering. This is really cool. And my heart felt like, yeah, that's right. So I've been aware of that. And I know that certain areas, it's like trying to get to know the local clan.
Mm-hmm.
It's, part of respecting the land and all of that stuff. You're respecting where they live on. So each area may have different energies and different groups. And so some may come as a big group. Some may be, I call them the scouts. They may be popping in and checking out to see what's going on. So I do believe they're like us. We spread out all over the world. We kind of went to different places. But now we're interacting more because I really feel there's going to be, they call it first contact. I'm more like they're just going to step out of the mist and show themselves and let us know, because there is history and local indigenous cultures have talked about that they used to work with them before.
There's so much to gather from this, Gail. So do you, I'm so excited. So do you feel like these are tribes that have been here for centuries?
Yes. They could even predate man for all I know. And they just continue to live the way they live. If the theory about that they came from the stars, but those who chose to stay here, they kind of de-evolved to, live more, like with nature.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then yeah, you can see some areas they do, some areas they say that the people of the forest use fire and they cook. Others say they don't. So, who knows? But I think no one really gets to find out about them because we're so interested in proving their existence.
Right. Instead of understanding.
Saying, okay, they're there. Let's just see what's going on. So maybe you see, a fire pit there, and it's been there for a while. Was that a hunter or camper, or is there something else?
Right. Gail, do you feel like they're from another dimension and they pop in and out even?
I know that they can do that. We've had that experiences. A friend who lived in like downtown Denver, there's like hardly any trees in his area. He was left gifts there, and he was thinking, oh, "You guys shouldn't come here. You might get shot. People have guns here."
That's true.
But we know they can pop in and out, and so it makes sense. Some of the stuff you'll see, YouTube or whatever, where they see what they thought is like a forest person or Bigfoot, and then they go and then they pass a tree and then you don't see them anymore.
Right, so they disappear.
Right. So I believe, and I'm like, why can't they? So is this a carryover from the connection from the star beings, or are they connected with Mama Earth and the natural portals, and the ley lines and all of this stuff? So I'm curious, but I'm not curious enough to go through a portal.
But that does make sense. Are they on the ley lines that connect to different portals? That makes complete sense.
And then the areas that you find portals or vortex, just in general, not necessarily where the people of forest are, you'll see like the trees are all twisted and all these things. There's something going on in the earth which is affecting the way a tree that maybe naturally goes straight is twisted. And so once you start to be aware of those, that'll make, okay, wait a minute, there's something going on. Like for me, I can sense the energies. So I will sense the energy before I see that there's the twisted trees and stuff like that. So my validation is seeing the trees, which are like the markers. Okay, that makes sense. So what I'm feeling is validated by the way the trees are growing. I feel energy. Sometimes it's surge energy. Sometimes there's like a nice wave, or there may be a temperature change. So it really depends. And we were in Crestone in Colorado, and this was when I became a Reiki master teacher, and our teacher took us as a group like to celebrate. And we were walking all over the place, and a friend of mine, she has similar gifts like me, so we can sense the energy. And we were literally like, step forward, step back, step forward, step back. And our teacher like, what are you doing? I said, there is a small, very narrow portal or vortex here. And we could feel it. So we were having fun just going back and forth, back and forth. And then we would pick up stones in that area that held the energy. So,
that's so cool.
When I lived in Hawaii, we would go hiking and I would sense something. And then I was like, did you guys feel that? And nobody else did. I said, never mind, just go on. So I have a natural ability to pick that up.
Yeah, you do. Well, it's natural to you. It seems normal to you.
Right. I thought everybody did.
So, since we had our last conversations, I've really been aware of the possibility of forest people, or do I sense them? Do I feel them? Are they on? I was on my family's farm prior to this. I certainly felt that, and I felt a very protective presence.
Yes.
Is that accurate? Is that true? So, or do you sense that?
When for you, actually, when you opened your heart to connect with our last one, especially when Kamu came through, I feel there's a female. She's actually has very light colored, almost blonde color. I'll call it hair, not fur. That I'm seeing. She comes in and she pops in and out, just checking in on you. So this was an opportunity for her to say, Diana's ready. Let's go and see. So I believe that when you feel their presence, even when you're saying, how could they be in my house? Well, maybe there's not enough room for them. Remember that they can also be in spirit form, so they're not necessarily in their physical form. And I've had many friends and students say, well, I've asked them to leave me a sign that they're here. And then they'll tell me, I keep finding a feather, or I'm finding coins, or somebody moving my things. I don't know what. And I said, wait, when did you ask? And they're like, you think that's them? I'm like, you asked. They're like, oh, I thought someone was messing with me. I said, well, they could be, but you asked. So now that you have it, what are you going to do? They're like, they're in my house. I said, but
I felt them in the woods for sure.
And that's the other thing that they don't have to. They could even. They call them cloaking themselves, so you really can't see them. And I did see that before, and I was shocked. I was like, now I know what the cloaking looks like. And the movie Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger, when they first showed the creature, it does look like that. It's a trip. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Like a vibration?
Like to me, it's like, when the roads get really hot and you have like that vapor looking thing, it's kind of like that concept. But the first time I saw it, they were these tall grasses and they were moving, but there was no wind. And I kind of saw that. I think I'm seeing something, but not really. It's not normal. I'm not really seeing through that area. And that was the first time, because then my friend Garrett goes, look, there's the little ones walking. And I sat there and going,
the little ones?
Yeah, the younger ones. Oh. The younger ones are there. And they were walking, and they were, I couldn't see them in their physical form, but physically the darn grass was moving and there was no wind. And then I started seeing that cloaking he was talking about. Wow, that was amazing. So it's good for us. It's like, it's good to go out with our friends. We all have a gift, so we can, like bouncing ideas, or did you see that? Or I'm not sure what I saw. And then somebody else will say, well, actually I heard that too, and this is where it happened. So some people say, I don't need validation. I'm like, I do. I still do. But in the same sense, I don't know if I'm ready for them to just be right in front of me and saying, Gail, I might just take off and run.
Oh, I think you'd do fine. I think if they invited you to tea, you'd be just fine.
I don't know, that fight or flight thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So do you feel like they're an ancient civilization that wants to share their knowledge with us? We kind of touched on that in the last conversation, and I feel like we didn't go far enough with it.
So I believe that I've always called them elementals. I didn't understand the star connection till someone else introduced it, but I felt like they've always been here. They've been part of the land. They've been part of inner earth, so to speak. All of those stuff. The fairies, the fae, whatever. They're all there, but they just are no longer walking among us, as you can see. So to me, that makes sense. So they could be, many indigenous cultures, they're like the guardians of the land. So it makes sense to me that, when they say the guardians of the land, and I'm thinking elementals, that's probably what it is. And so, and plus growing up in Hawaii, there were things there that, we saw and we experienced that most people may not even believe in, but we just already knew and accepted it as true. So when you say, don't go in this certain area because such and such is going to happen, we're not going to do something to say, prove it to me. We're like, oh no, we're not going to go there. And so I've had many experiences growing up of things that we were told as children, this is why. And so I guess I never thought someone could be lying to me about it. And then when I started experiencing myself, I'm like, oh, that's what they meant.
So they're guardians of the land. What do you think their score sheet would be about how we're taking care, we are actually stewarding this planet?
Well, I know that there's certain areas, right? If you're talking about the earth in general, certain areas that are really struggling, right? Like deforestation or, pollution, the pollution of the ocean. I mean, all those things. So there's things that we could do better. And so when we've gone out, just as a group, we automatically pick up trash as we walk around. Were we asked to do that? No, it's kind of just who we are. Do I condemn people for polluting things and stuff? If they knew what they were doing, yes, but if they're, this is what we always did. So what's the big deal? It's difficult, but I feel that they do. And there have been structures in the forest where there are things from humans that they've incorporated in it, like some plastic or whatever that it might be woven into part of the branch, not branch, but the sticks that they use,
Huh?
the poles that they use, all these things. They are using some of that, or you can say recycling
Right.
some of the things that we have. So, but what I'm thinking is it's getting to a point where we need to start being more aware that the earth is finite. There's only so
Right.
much room we have. So, you really need to start taking care of that. And I believe that's when I mentioned with the indigenous culture and working side by side, there was that the theme was about, yes, they wanted to have food and shelter and all of this, but you're working with the land rather than abusing. You
Right.
take what you need, you don't overdo it.
Or poison it.
So, right. So, and then there's areas where, they leave it for a while and then it reverts back to what it was. Is there some signs or something, or, like residue of radiation or something that could have been left there? There may be, but the earth can also help to heal itself if
Right.
we allow the time for them to do it. And then, maybe it's the time when the forest people come in and they help to cultivate and to bring back what was supposed to be there, the natural part of it.
How do we communicate with them, or how can we integrate some of the lessons that they would like for us to know? Because I feel like there's an ancient culture here, or there's, I don't know, but time doesn't really exist, but I feel like there's knowledge that needs to be shared.
I haven't received a message, a global message, as individuals. I think what I got was good question, and there's your
Boom. There you
validation. They
go.
went in, like, oh gosh. So, all right. So that's for validation for me. That's what just happened. That's your Sasquatch, your female Sasquatch. So she's here. So let's see if she's got a message. And the other thing to remember is they do want us to have fun, and they do like to play. So there you go. They're gonna mess with your background.
Okay, stop playing. We got to get this
So,
down so that people will hear it.
so what's interesting is that, after it first came down, I'm like, oh, I was gonna tell you that, your female Sasquatch was behind you, and she's messing, but she gave me a name. Her name is
No,
yes, her name is Tawny.
Tani.
Tawnee. Tawny. And so she was the one who was messing with it. Because just as I got the name, she pulled it down. I said, so she's validating to me that what I received was true and that it is. So her name is Tawny. And going back to your questions too, what she's showing me is it's not all about the land only. It's about how we work, how we interact together. So rather than being at war, why not work harder to become one race, the human race, and work together? And stop trying to be the ruler of all, this is her words, the ruler of all, into being one large, like a tribe, one large family. And so when you can reach that point, the taking care of the land, the respecting of the land, making sure that, we don't overdo things or destroy things, that way of thinking is really where the family piece comes together.
Oh,
So as we unify, we can do great things. So for her, she really wants that more people work side by side. She's saying that, there have been times of war within their own different tribes, different locations, a territory, food, all these things, but not to the extent where they will almost have like genocide, where you're getting rid of people, like a whole group of people. And I'm seeing like flashes of back when the concentration camps, mass amount of people just being killed because one individual is deciding that they're inferior. She's saying that has never happened to their people. What she's saying really, it's about coming together, all species, all walks of life, and then we can come together and we can truly, all of us, be the caretakers of our own land, of our own home, ensuring that future generations has a place that they can love, live, and have peace.
Impossible, but is there really a reason for it to be impossible?
So this is just my mental brain coming up. So if you watch those movies where the earth is being invaded, somehow the human race tends to be unified to protect our earth. There may be something that triggers for things to happen.
I see.
Now, she's not telling me the future. She's just saying, she's saying what she would like to see.
And I'm curious, does Tani come from a prior sort of galactic civilization, or is she evolved from a more present sort of tribe?
Okay. So she is more galactic, but she also can physically walk this earth, like say through portals, through things like that. So this is a new theory that comes up. It just happened to me. It's like she could appear as a hologram.
Okay.
To communicate.
That makes complete sense.
You may not always be able to touch her, be tangible, but she is present. And then her existence, her soul, you will always feel that. You'll never have to say, oh, I wonder if this is Tani. Right. She just has this beautiful, loving energy. She wants everybody to be happy. If she could, she would take care of everybody. But she feels that with you, you're able to carry the message that a lot of people are not hearing. And so she's coming to be of assistance to you, but also on a personal level, to be with you, to know that, you don't always have to take your journeys or walk on your path alone. She's there.
Beautiful. And then there it goes again. I'm going to fix this one more time.
She likes the green color.
One more time. Hold on one more second. I can't believe this.
As my friend would always say, you can't make this shit up. It keeps happening. All right.
Go ahead. I was going to ask another. I feel like you have a new revelation.
Yes, there's like a young one pulling from the bottom.
Cool.
Yeah. So I don't know if this is her child.
Her child. Is it?
I'm seeing the last one, when you're pulling it up, I was seeing like they were like trying to take it down.
Right. It's interesting. I'm in a new location at the moment, and there are woods around. It's a slightly more suburban kind of area, but it's very mixed rural. And I certainly felt it last night. I occasionally, I don't know if I'm going to show this on the podcast or not, but I use dowsing rods sometimes to ask questions of my guides. And I thought it was Camus that came forward last night, but perhaps it was Tani.
No, it was Camus.
Okay. It was a very heavy presence. It was a very do not mess with me kind of presence.
But Camus not the one messing with you, but Tani has been there. It's almost like she has stepped up to work with you because Amen. You opened yourself up to basically walk the path of an ambassador. Camus brought in. That's just even more so. So now you have a personal connection who can be there for you to help you, whatever your purpose is here. She's here to help.
Beautiful.
And now that you're aware of her, I don't know what scent she'll come in, but I keep smelling roses for some reason. Like, why do I smell roses? So the next time you smell roses in an area that there's no roses, you say, Tani, is that you? And you'll probably get your validation.
I'm curious too, since you and I are talking, Gail, if this has anything to do with the feminine, divine feminine sort of moving forward in the planet.
Yeah, definitely. What I've been experiencing and even messages that I've been receiving, it goes back to Tani's thing about family. The divine feminine needs to step forward in order for that to happen. Not saying that a male energy, masculine energy cannot achieve it, but there is a different purpose in their actions. A woman will not necessarily do what she does because she wants to achieve power or wants to obtain land or anything, or something for her benefit. It's generally as a bigger group or like for protection of younger ones, or whatever it is. So there's a different approach to that. And the way I'm saying, because even like my events and my classes, I have way more women than I do men. And the men that do come in, some of them come in when they can be Mr. Tyrone. But when you get past that, they're big old teddy bears. And they really are heart-centered. So that to me is the key. I wouldn't say divine feminine is like, that's the, like women power, girl power.
Right.
It's more of, it's our nature. And it's the fact that what we value and we put forward, it's different. And I think that's the piece of it. They say, well, then why don't we have a woman president and stuff? I said, I don't think politics really has to do with the alignment of the energies of the universe. That's my opinion. They may think they do, but ultimately, that is not what's going to bring forward unification, working together, becoming bigger than just the earth type of thing. The politics are not part of it. They may be the governing force initially. But if I know one of my friends says, no, they're not going to, first contact is not going to happen in front of, like the White House. It's going to happen in somebody's living room. And she goes, well, wait a minute, it's already happening. So I don't think it's politics that's going to be involved in that at all.
I like this because it's the natural path for many women. It's a natural path for females in general and for men, for families.
Right. I mean, there are a lot of men who are, they're the root of the family, they're the caregivers. They do that piece of it. So they will be experiencing things the same way we would. And it doesn't mean that they're less of a man. No, it's not really, it's not the sex we were born with. It's more of the emotions that we carry and what we do with it. And that's making the difference. So one of my friends he's done so much research on, with Bigfoot, that's his term, with Bigfoot and everything. He's never thought about the emotional aspect of it. But there is, I know I saw a documentary where there was a group of women who'd just be women. They go out camping and their connections, and they do get responses. Because they're not going in as trying to prove that they're the alpha. They're going in and they're like, and a lot of times they're singing, they're laughing. There's just a different energy presence, which makes it more open for others to become part of the group.
And more open perhaps for other beings like Tani, and to connect, for us all to sort of be connected as one.
Right. I'm not so Pollyannish that I think, oh, there's going to have one world, one race type of thing. That would be beautiful if it does. It may take a lot of work. But if you look at yourself as an individual and what you do, that's really what you can control. So going back to the very beginning when we talked about it, what makes me, like, my approach different? I think it's just that. I'm not going to go in trying to prove the existence of the Sasquatch or anybody else, anything else that I connect with. I'm going in as being grateful that I was allowed to even interact. I'm grateful for whatever happens. Even if it scares me, I may laugh afterwards. I'm like, okay, got it. But with my gifts, I can also go beyond the physical. I can pick up on the emotions that are being conveyed. I can see what's not visibly being seen, and it just makes it so much better. And I have not had, like I said, I have not had bad experiences. I always felt like they were there, curiosity, definitely, but they were there out of good intentions. Very good intentions. Now, have I felt uncomfortable at one point? We were in Washington State, and it was mainly men, and they were very high testosterone. They were very big, bulky men. And we were out in an area, and there were no lights, and it was near the home, and so we were out there, and I actually saw red eyes. I was like, what is that? First of all, I didn't know because I saw red, and they were all pretty tall, and they were looking, and it felt uncomfortable. I was like, guys, what is this? Said, oh, no, that's just eye shine. I said, yeah, but it feels uncomfortable. I don't know if I want to be here. Like, oh, no, you're okay. So I just said, and so there were a few of us women there. I said, okay, girls, let's tone love. So we did. We toned the love, and the energy shifted. It wasn't so scary.
Beautiful.
But I can tell you that I was ready to run. Like,
I'm sure.
Oh, no, I'm not comfortable. I need to go.
So
But the other
interesting.
guy, oh, interesting. It just popped in my head, so I figured I'd share that. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I do remember. Not like I was fearful for my life, but I felt very uncomfortable, and I felt like um, it was more of who was the more dominant one. And I was like, well, that's not me. I'm the smallest of the group. But when we just did what we normally do, we toned love and we sang, and then the energy shifted.
Wow.
I mean, it's not like I saw their eyes change. They just weren't there anymore. So maybe they're like, okay, this is all right.
Right. They weren't threatened. So interesting. Does Tani have any sort of message she would like to share with our audience?
Let me tell you, there are more among us who wish to connect with you, your people, your race. We wish to work together side by side to make this place a better place for all. It is like seeing different types of flowers. Some may be poison, some may be edible, as your words. But look, see, take the time to observe. Many of your kind do not take the time to even breathe and relax. The world cannot maintain this fast paced evolution. At the end of each day, we all lay and rest our heads to regenerate, to recharge, to sleep. This need to always be the it is in all walks of life. But in doing so, do not lose who you are. Do not lose the value of you as an individual. As your people say, it's time to smell the roses. That is what many of you have not done in many, many lifetimes. Take a step back, value who you are and what you are contributing to the entire existence as it is, as it stands. We are here to be your support and to assist you when you are needing our. With much gratitude, I will step back. She is very intelligent, very intelligent, which is why she's come to you.
Thank you.
That was her child.
Oh, cool. That's so cool. Thank you, Gail. That's so cool. What a gift you have.
Sometimes it's crazy gift.
Yeah, it's really neat. It's really cool. Tell us about the upcoming event in May.
Some of the things that we're talking about are what we've learned from them, so their teachings. It may be, answering questions that people may have. There's I love to plan, but there's always it somehow gets hijacked, if you want to say, and whatever needs to be said or shared comes forward. But if anything, it's a lot of fun. To people, being around people and not being judged.
Right.
That's the best part. So
Fantastic.
when you really want to look for them, open your heart up, and they may come in areas where you would think that they wouldn't be. It's not just you have to go to the forest or something. They may just pop into your house one day, or they may leave you gifts, and then you'll realize I did ask, and there you go. And it's not like it's something that it's obvious that it could have been someone else leaving. Like my friend got a pile of feathers, but the feathers weren't like in a pot. They were organized very nicely. The thing that I have to tell everyone, I always tell them, release your expectations of what it's going to be like when you experience it. Because a lot of times we miss things because we think it's going to be a certain way. And that's hard if you're a planner like me. I need to have ideas of what it's going to look like so I'll know what it looks like, and then I miss things. So I always find it fascinating. I think that's why it presents the way it is. I'm shocked. Wow, okay, I didn't expect that.
Well, they want to make sure you don't miss it, Gail.
Obviously, I'm like, okay. And it's hard for me to slow down too. I'm one of those people who I was constantly always busy.
It's going to be May 21st?
21st to the 24th. So Thursday through Sunday in Bailey, Colorado, at a place called the Glen Isle Resort.
And
so
then
I will have the information posted on my website.
Okay. Cool.
And it's GEAFGIFTS.com. Giftgifts.com. Let me double check that is my, and then you'll see the information on that. And so there is a participation fee, and then you would be on your own to rent the cabins or to get. Oh, wow, the color changed here. That was interesting.
Yeah. Did.
To rent your cabins, and then food is on your own.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
so
it's
a 3-day gathering.
Well, Thursday night is more of a meet and greet.
It sounds lovely,
And
Gail.
Thank you. This was fun.
Yeah,
people may have their own opinions or different experiences, and I get it. I'm just saying this is me, and this is what I've experienced, or my take on it. You can take it or you can leave it. It's really up to you. But I can tell you that I'm no longer concerned whether people think I'm crazy. Like, I tell you like it is, But I mean, I am, I have my MBA. I work in bringing up system changes to the state system, all these things. I'm very analytical from that aspect.
I know.
But then I was born this way with this gift. So, I'm always in a place of gratitude, and I'm humbled by when I can experience these things. And so I don't mind sharing, because I know there's people out there that, they may have experienced it, but they don't want to tell anybody.
True.
Well, there's too many of us, so we're not crazy. As we look at everything else, you're not crazy. And what you're experiencing is real. And I got to figure out why, or what am I being asked to do?
It sounds like there's messages that need to be heard now.
Yes, I think that's why there's so much change, chaos. We went through the pandemic I feel like it helped us to isolate, but sometimes it wasn't a good thing. So we have to come out of that, come back to community, come back to really just trusting one another, supporting one another, and taking care of those who are struggling, and when we have the ability to do so.
All right. Well, thank you. Tell me once again, tell the audience once again how to get in touch with you. It's www.geafgifts.com.
Yes, that's my website. I'm also on Facebook. I think it's Gift Gifts Info.
Oh, okay.
And you can find me there, because they got a couple pages that were hacked before. I'm like, I'm up a new ones. But that's one way. You can email me at giftgifts. So giftgifts at Comcast, COMCAST.net, or giftgifts@gmail.com. So I have several of those.
Sounds fabulous.
And I'm on my website. There's a lot of interviews that I've done. So
sounds fabulous. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Gail.
This is Kamu. Kamu he just wanted me to let everyone know that he's standing in gratitude, for all of the work you're doing, the work of many others who are helping to move beyond like they're saying, it's the metaphysical, right? It's moving beyond that. He is just grateful that we are stepping out and letting others know, where some people are afraid to let others know about it. He goes, your voice needs to be heard. Your voice needs to be heard. He's thanking you, Diana, for being able to allow that to occur through what you do in your work.
My pleasure and honor.
And yes, he does. He's saying he is around you. He says, and when he is around. So he's just validating for you if you weren't sure.
Thank you. I appreciate that. He's a presence, that's for sure.
And the good thing is, it's not an overwhelming, but he's not somebody, you can sense the elder part of him.
Lots of trust. Thank you.